Hello and welcome to another RiderCamTV video in sunny Cornwall. We are socially distancing. Mark has got the microphone on the longest pole ever and we're zoomed in on the camera, so hopefully we don't lose any quality. So we are over 2 meters away, so don't worry.
I'm actually in Devon.
Really?
No, why would you go there?
Anyway, today I've just fitted and then moved away from the bike when Mark did a couple of bits on the bike, and then he moved away. It was a nightmare, but we have fitted this handy little gadget on the bike, and it is from a company called Shenzhen V-SYS Technology Company, and they had sent us this, which is a dual system dashcam type thing for the car, and the model that we've got, I'll put all the details up, is a P6 or P6F. And the good thing about this one is it records 1080p on front and rear, which is really, really good. It's got good sensors. It's a Sony sensor. The viewing angle is of 150 degrees or 120 or 150 degrees depending on what you set it up on both cameras. It's got Wi-Fi, so for all you techies out there, you can play on your phones and look at what you're recording. IP67, they say it's waterproof. Is IP67 waterproof? I don't know. We will find out. The main unit is IP65, so hence the fact that I've put it underneath the seat. It hasn't got a waterproof case, but it has got a mount for a little button on the handlebars, which is just there. So we thought rather than us record the fact that we lost cables inside the bike and couldn't get them out again and they were jammed, had to cut them off and rejoin them. But other than that, it was a really simple install, wasn't it, Mark?
Actually, it took about 10 minutes to connect it all, but passing the wires took 4 days.
Now, the real thing that we had an issue was because BMW is inherently bad if you go into their electrical system, and we were really worried about that, and BMW would cost a lot of money to get it fitted, even though they would fit it for us. So Mark found one of his friends who is right up there with electrical stuff, isn't he, Mark?
Mr. Ian, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian, who basically told us how we fitted it, and we thought we'd be here for hours with angle grinders and welders and all that sort of stuff, and it's just 3 wires you connect, 3, and that's it. Unbelievable. So where should we start, Mark? Should we start at the front?
Why not?
Front camera. That way you can keep your distance, please. Right, so we've got a camera here, which is a 1080p camera, and we've angled it. It comes with a sticky pad. You can screw it in, but I'm obviously not going to screw into the sealed light. And we looked at loads of different places of where to put it, and the thing is, if it's on this plastic or anywhere on these bits of plastic, we're going to have a bit of an issue because as you're riding along it's going to wobble. So we know that that is really, really steady because we've done videos via the clamp on top of the headlight, and it's just as steady as a rock, isn't it, Mark?
Yep.
So that's where we've put it. We've put the wire over and across, right down, and then down the side. It's really difficult having to stay apart, isn't it? Right down in between, and then followed it right up over the top of the water filler, because you've got access in there, and then we've basically fed it down the outside, and I'll show you on the other side. Basically fed it down in behind there, and then the wires come right across the top, right underneath that bar there, part of the frame, right up into here where all of the spider's nest is. Now, in the kit they give you so much, they really do. So not only have we got the actual unit, we've got the unit that plugs into that gives all the power and tells you, does some amazing stuff to get it working. Then we have got these wires.
It's like a snake's wedding.
Yeah. That's an extension wire for one of the cameras. Then you've got a GPS module that we haven't fitted because I don't really need it, because I've got that all on my phone and on sat nav, so you wouldn't need it. An extra connection so that you can plug in an external power supply. So if you didn't want to go through all this, you could just charge up one of those big power supplies that you can take around and plug it straight in, and that will work off there. a handy extra mounty thing. Loads and loads of zip clips, which is good, that helped you out. And quite a few spare 3M pads as well, which is really good. Although the only thing that I would say is that they're really thin. So where you would put it where it's slightly beveled over, you'd expect to have some sort of capacity in that to stick it on, but it's not because it's so flat. So with these wires, they're really, really good. Now obviously we've connected them and I haven't taken pictures, so I shall put them on the screen somewhere, but the handy thing is that they're really, really good. So you can see on this one you've got 4 holes and like a little divot there, and on this side you've got 4 prongs. Is that the word?
Let's say male and female connectors, shall we?
Which one's which?
I don't know, I've done that lesson.
So you kind of got, they're the males, aren't they? The prong thingy, sticky outy things.
No, the one in your right hand's the male.
Well, it's just not right, is it? So there's one with 4 holes there, and there's one with 4 prongs. Why would they do it that way? It makes no sense. But if you can see inside here, there's like a little extra spur, I guess, on here, and that relates to this little divot or this little cutout here, and you can only put them in one way, and they screw up. Now from the front camera, the wire is really long, so we've connected one of these and then taken it into the unit, and what that means is not only does it give you a really good connection, and the good thing about these is they're really substantial, they really clamp in nicely, and they only go in one way. They're not like the tiny little flimsy connections you get in a lot of stuff. The only downside to that is you try getting through through some of the holes on the bike. It was a bit of a challenge, wasn't it, Mark? Yeah. But you can do it quite easily. And the other thing is that the only other bad thing is to have a really decent connection like that. It makes the connection so long. So to put it in somewhere is really quite difficult to find places, especially on these BMWs. They've got so much other stuff there. But that plugs into the head unit, as does the back camera, and the back camera, really, really simple. Didn't have to have the extension on there. We've stuck it on here. They come with a handy arrow, although you can see that on the screen, handy arrow on the back of the camera, so you know exactly which way you should have it pointing up. So you can basically put your camera anywhere to get the right orientation. That wire's just come under, over the top, underneath the seat, and into the unit. Then from that, because that's the 3 sets of wires, we've got 4 in there. So the 4th one is literally a tiny little connector, a bit more flimsy than the others, but same principle. It's got so many prongs and holes with a little divot, so you can't plug it in the wrong way. That's fed all the way through, all the way up, following the wires onto the button. And the button is there so that if something happens when you're riding along, or you want to take either a picture or saving a video, you can press it and it saves whatever you've set up on here, 30 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes before and after, whatever you set, depending on the size of the card. Now the one thing it doesn't come with is a SD card. So I've got an SD card and slipped it in there. When we thought this wasn't working, we thought that hole in there was a reset button, but it's not. It just leads to nowhere, so I'm not sure why that's there, or whether it's just to vent some heat out. On the back of it you've got their name, V-SYS, and and some little holes there, presumably so that it's for venting. There's no magnet, no way to clip it on or fix it on, but I'm just thinking, Mark, because I like to dynamically risk assess and dynamically think about this stuff, that's what that screw-in thing's for. So you could mount that somewhere on the bike if you had a bigger dashboard. So things like RTs and stuff, it might be that you could actually have that sat on the dashboard mounted somewhere.
Wow, it'd be like a screen, wouldn't it? Just,
I don't know why you'd put it there, because you'd have to mount it upside down, which is a bit weird.
You'd have so much stuff to look at though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, certainly would. So let's chuck that away. So now this box connects to the red connection on your bike. For us, it doesn't have to be on the battery, because there's another little live bolty thing that you screw it to, isn't there?
That'll do.
There must be a
bolty
word
thing. I'm
for it,
happy
but
with that.
that's my kind of word. And the other one, the black wire goes to the black side or the negative side of the battery. And then from there, and this is where our handy mate comes in, we thought we'd have to do something special to get this yellow wire connected. And this is so that it starts up when the bike starts up and it doesn't keep running when the bike's finished. It turns itself off. It's just literally this red and blue cable on this Spider's wedding evening do, and it's just literally plugged onto there with one of those Gucci little clips. No hassle whatsoever.
They are a little bit problematic, those clips, sometimes. Just make sure you got it really jammed on tight.
Yeah, they're really not the greatest, but for this it works. And then because we didn't want to cut all the wires, because the company might want the unit back after we've had a look at it and seen what it's like, we've wound it all up and tucked it away so it looks kind of neat. And it does look kind of neat, doesn't it?
I think so.
So how does it work?
You switch it on, there's an on-off switch somewhere.
Right. I don't know whether you can zoom in on this, Mark. The screen is really difficult to see unless you're in a darkened room. It talks to you. It said something like video recording. It's recording. Now, I'm not sure whether you can see it, but the screen is really small. So the screen's probably an inch and a bit by an inch? About that? Really small, and it's split up into two. So you've got your front camera here on the left and your rear camera on the right with a few settings, and unfortunately they've chosen colours that don't really bode well when you're looking at it. They've chosen lime green. Why would you not choose a different colour? I get that they're like supplementary information, but if you're really looking for that, I'm 43?
No way.
I know, I'm getting
I
old.
was supposed to say that then, wasn't I?
Yeah. What, you thought I was younger? But even with or without glasses, it's really hard to see that. But it's got 4 buttons on it, and you have to turn off the recording in order to do anything on the menus, which is much the same across most of the dash cams for cars and for bikes and stuff. But then you can change your view. So by pressing that, it flips the front screen to the right hand side and the rear screen to the left, and then it just goes to the front screen, the front camera, then just the rear, and then back to what it was before. On the menu, if we go to menu, really simple. It's just 4 icons. One about viewing. If you go right, it's one about looking at what you filmed. So it's got all the files on there. Now, I wouldn't personally use this because I've got something up my sleeve in a minute to tell you how it might be a little bit easier. Then you've got the settings, and the settings are really quite simple. You can change a resolution for both cameras, the length that you can have the video clip running around before it overwrites itself. It records sound. You can have the beep that when you press the button you know that it's going to beep. Voice guide, you can have that if you want to. It's not going to guide you anywhere, but it'll say it's recording, stop recording, only in a better voice than me. You can put your clock settings on there, your date format, change whether the flicker's there. If you're getting a bit of flicker when you're riding along, you can change the hertz either higher or lower. You can have the rear cam mirror. I don't know what that means. LCD power save, so you can set it for different times, so it's going to be under the seat. I don't care what this is doing as long as it's recording, so I've set that to the lowest. It's got a protection level, so it's got like one of those what's it called, not gravity checkers, but it senses when there's been a shock or something, so it will protect that file.
Wow.
Much like many other car cams. Then it's got GPS status. Well, we've not got the GPS on there. You can change the time zone, reset the whole thing, but there's also a Wi-Fi mode. And now get this, there's a Wi-Fi mode. You can format the card, you can get some info about the card, and you can see what firmware you're running. And that is about all the box does. It doesn't do anything else.
Loads. And she still talks to you.
Oh, she's sweet. She's sweet. Anyway, right, so they give you all of this stuff to read.
Instructions, nobody needs them.
But it's a proper user manual. Now, it's one of those things that when people buy lots of this sort of stuff from China, they don't really know the name. Some of the instructions are really quite poor, aren't they? They've been poorly translated. This seems to be quite good, and it's quite good, in fact, how they set everything out so that you know exactly what's going on, where it's going, what everything does, what the icons mean. And most people, this day and age, when they're picking up something like that, will know what to do, because you either get it right or wrong, and you learn trial and error, and it only takes a few minutes. They give you a couple of bits of paper with some Wi-Fi stuff on there, in English as well. So scan the code, it takes you to the iOS or the Google Play Store. You can download the app, and then when you're in the app, and the app is really good, we can't show you out here because it's too sunny, but when you're in the app, it will allow you to connect to it, but it will also allow you to change your video resolution, the looping video time, so whether it's 3, 2, 1 minutes, that sort of thing. Reset the camera, turn the sound off, sort your GST out, whatever that means. Oh, that's your GST is the level that it's going to protect you if it feels a bump. You can turn that off, have it on level 1, 2, 3 or 4. Format the card, find out what the setting is for the Bluetooth. You can also go to a screen that looks at everything that you've got recorded on it as well. So you haven't got to keep taking the card in and out, so you haven't got to take the seat off. You haven't got to take the card out to plug it into a computer and mess around. You can play it right on your computer and download
do that, though, aren't they? Some of the more expensive ones, shall we say?
Yeah, well, the Nextbase, they're one of the most prevalent, aren't they? One of the most well-known ones, I guess. They all do it. Yeah. So, and it's a tiny package, isn't it? And then you can go online, you can have look at different things, and you can connect to your camera and change the settings, but you can also view where it is, which is really handy, because if you've just set it up and you're on your own, you might want to see where it's actually how it's going to show. So you could have it on your camera and then be turning it, or have it on your phone, be down here turning it the right way so it actually goes the right way. All in all, I think it's quite a good kit. I think the test will come in how good a quality the video is when we're riding along, how easy it is to connect and how reliable it is, to be honest. It does look and feel to be a really well-made unit though, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, we all know of more expensive ones. This is nowhere near as expensive as they can be.
I'm not sure how much it is actually, but I suspect it's about £100–150.
Yeah, the one I've got on my camera is the version before, on my bike is the version before that. And it doesn't have those big connectors on it, just has the plug-in ones.
Yeah.
And that was £90.
Yeah.
And it's nearly over a year old now.
It's still working. Yeah. I think it's how you look after it, isn't it? That's not going to be waterproof. I could put it in a bag, but
might get too hot.
Yeah. To be honest, it's extra bulk. It would be lovely on these bikes to have somewhere extra to put stuff, wouldn't it? I know, like if you had a Honda, you would have that. Some Hondas, they've got that massive cavernous bonnet, haven't they, that you can put stuff in. It'd be nice for manufacturers to give you a bit of space, but also, why don't manufacturers of bikes and cars actually have these things built in? I don't understand why you've got to pay extra to go and buy it, to then have it fitted, when really, could they not actually build that in? And that could be a bit of a feature, couldn't it?
I think they could do. It's probably an option on some bikes. Some of the more, I don't know, bigger bikes if you want. But yeah, they should be able to do that.
Yeah.
Same as eating grips.
Yeah.
Don't start me.
No. No, we won't go there, Mark. We won't go there.
And horns.
And horns, especially. But what I did like about it is the packaging. The packaging's really good. You get these. I don't know why in this world we're still using so much plastic to cover everything all the time. The cable's wrapped up, sat in there. Does it need that wrapped up? It's just something that's going to be chucked away, isn't it? But they are quite nice feely plastic bags.
Is that a Save the World thing you're talking about there?
Heal the world.
Oh God,
yeah.
Karaoke as well.
But I like the options that it comes with. So if you weren't intent on having it fitted to your bike in terms of the electrics, you can get a battery pack. You perhaps use that through one of those Optimates when you park the bike up. That could be charging it up perhaps. you know, to that power pack sits there, and that will power it. I like the fact that it comes with a real simple way of connecting it. When you turn the bike on, it starts itself off, and then it turns itself off after the bike's stopped. So that's really good. I really love the advantage of using that Wi-Fi system, and the way that it comes. You know, it's a nice box. It's got everything. It even came with an Allen key so that you can tighten up on the bracket to make sure it's not going to flop around. So that's really good. Even zip clips, and it came with 2 tiny little screws, and I have no idea where they go. But it might be if you wanted to screw something in, like one of the cameras in, perhaps, I don't know.
I think you get if you wanted to screw it into your fairing or something like that.
And lots of instructions, spare 3M, I mean, they'll come in handy for everything, not just fitting these sort of things, but you've got some spares as well. And it's a handy little package, and I love the fact that these cables, they don't feel flimsy. I mean, time will tell, and I've gone round them with electrical tape just to seal them up a little bit more, but it's really quite bizarre, quite unusual to have something that seems to be made really well for quite a good price. And the support from the people back at the company that make them are really good. The guy called Cole, who we've been dealing with, he approached us and asked us if we would do it, so he sent it over, and presumably he'll want it sent back. But we didn't think it was working right because we weren't sure how to connect it. So so nothing came out of the machine. So he gave us some pointers to look at, and he replied within a day. You know, bear in mind, China and England are quite different in time zones. Within a day, I had a reply. We tried it, it worked. So we're setting it up to see what it's like. So I really quite like it.
Good.
So if you've liked this video, we're going to go out and ride now, aren't we?
Here we are.
We're going to go out and ride out. So,
because now, according to the new restrictions, we can do that.
Yeah, but I have got to go to the shops and stuff. No, we can do that.
Can I just point something out before you go? Look at that on the side of us.
Oh my God!
Look at that. So we've got RiderCamTV stickers and other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was drinking out of a RiderCamTV mug earlier. Yeah. But you can buy them all on our website, so head over there. There are some slight shipment delays because of all the COVID stuff that's been going on, but hopefully in the next few weeks and months that will ease. So you can still order. They'll still be sent out, might just take a little bit longer. We're going to go out and ride, and now you're going to see a bit of camera footage from the front camera and the rear camera. Then I'll put them together, see what you think. I think it's a good little system. We'll see how we get on. So if you like the video, give it a massive thumbs up. That's always good. Hit that subscribe button wherever YouTube have chosen to put it today, and we'll see you in the next video.
Can I go now? Because my arms are killing me.
Yeah.